Right, we're having another bash. It's now chapter 5 of the book. Chapter 5. Boo. Chapter 5, I was just testing the microphone of my little bookie called Farrington. Right, chapter 5 is called The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Now, it's supposed to be about Farrington, but I can't think of anything else about Farrington. I was going to describe what I actually did today. When I went up to pay council tax bill of my mother's, and I saw this cracking bird, cracking woman, beautiful she was. She just came around the corner at the Arndale Centre, bowling alley I was going to say. There used to be a bowling alley there, the Arndale Centre in Headingley, and she was beautiful, honestly, really lovely, really simple, you know, beautiful face, brown, long brown hair, nothing, no lipstick, none of that, and mascara and everything, all that. And she had her head down. She looks kind of really shy, you know. And so as I came closer to her, you know you're clocking them, and they know you're clocking them, and you're kind of clocking each other. And then their eyes go down. Women do that, you know. They put their eyes down and kind of look at the floor and just walk past you. So you have to be kind of subtle, you know. I sort of did the same. I looked across the road, and it just happened to be like a solicitor's office, and so I'm pretending to look at the solicitors, so she don't think I'm looking at her. And then when she's not looking, you look back, you know. But sometimes you want to try and make it explicit, you know. You want to kind of tell them, hey, fancy you. That takes some doing though, you know, when you're up there and there's a traffic all over the place and it's noisy and there's cars trying to run you over half the time, and you walk out off the pavement and you got to make sure you don't, I don't know, fall down a plug hole, fall down some kind of hole or something. So I went up there to go pay this bill, and now I'm having a bit of a wobbler because I can't get the microphone right in the middle of this pop filter, and it's picking up, and I'm looking at it and it's kind of low down on this sort of decibel meter in my 8-track recorder, and that sort of worries me sometimes because I like it to be way higher, but it's way higher when I'm recording, way higher when I'm recording music. So lo and behold, it's got higher now. Oh God, now I'm talking about the 8-track instead of getting on with this story, you know. Right. So let's see. The last chapter, we were at the sort of the art faculty, but Farrington didn't used to go in there. He'd been Priory Hall getting his tea. They used to do nice stuff. They used to get like 2 packs of milk, and they got a meal. I think they got a starter like grapefruit or something, you know, grapefruit or soup, and then a meal and like a pudding afterwards. Or maybe I'm just making it up, I don't know. And the Bay City Rollers once turned up, played Coventry Theatre, and a lot of these young lasses, you know, Bay City Roller fans, all out in the street, with the tartan scarves on, just like now with Justin Bieber, the same thing. And they just follow these guys around, you know, and they don't realise that these guys are kind of just singing shit to them, you know, and they just go and they're not bothered anyway. They're kind of must like the music, and they just like want to go hysterical for the sake of going hysterical. And everybody knows it's like a form of madness, because after that period is over, they don't really go hysterical for men, you know. Well, they do, but they don't really go hysterical for me. That's the problem. They at one time they did. At one time I used to have them flipping. They'd be chasing after me and they'd be mad about me. But I never really got many of them who were that mad about me. Well, I got a few, but it's nice to know that somebody really likes you a lot. But even ones who were really mad about me didn't really like me that much, because they were just doing it to fucking look like they were in love with you, or look like that they really fancied you. They're crafty women, like even craftier than you can, you know, even craftier than crafty, because they kind of just play it like that to control you, to get you as theirs, you know, as their property. And of course they'll say everything in the world about men. And how some men like to have women on their arms, or like women as showing them off like a piece of jewellery, you know. But it's surprising just how crafty they are, that you could be in a real love relationship and be used. Not that there's any love really, that you're just being used. And it's a funny thing. Anyway, I'm not pretending to be a psychologist or something here. I'm trying to get on with this book. Now, where was I? We're in the Art Faculty Library, and in our Priory Hall, which was a hall of residence in Coventry, and I think it's still called Priory Hall because I checked it out. And then eventually what happens is we finished our degrees and I didn't see Farrington again at all until I came back from Holland, and I'd got divorced and I was in a state and I'd flew for 20 odd days, and I was in contact with him and some of my old mates from the poly, and we were going to go down to Bristol to see Woody, I think it was, and I couldn't go because I was full of flu, and that really was it then. But just prior to that I actually rang him up when I was in Holland, because I got his number, or I got something from Steve Evans. That was it, when Steve Evans came to visit Holland. He came to Rotterdam and he rang my mother up and he got my telephone number in Holland, rang me up, and I went out to see him one Thursday night. We had a bit of a piss up. Problem was, on the Friday I had to go to work. I got in and I went and everything, and didn't skive off or get the sack. But you know, that's the trouble, is that you get a bit close to getting the sack if you don't turn in the next day because you've been out pissing it up. But there was no harm done. Okay, and anyway, so I rang Farry up. That's his other name, Farrington. And excuse me, I've just had some cream crackers and stuff. It doesn't sound like Treasure Island, does it, without burping? But I kind of regard it as a boorish, a different version, you know. We're just not reading a narrative about Squire Trelawney and Long John Silver and stuff. So, where was I now then? So we're at, well, I've forgotten now. Oh yeah, so I rang him up once in Denmark. I was in Holland. So it's kind of like a bit pretentious and a bit showy offy, but I was in Holland and he was in Denmark, and I rang him up. We got chatting on the phone, and he must have been really pleased, because I was. We talked about something or other, and his parrot, he had a parrot in the background. That's where, see, Long John Silver must come in and Treasure Island, because he had a parrot. And I said, oh, is that parrot in the background? Because I see this going on in the background, you know. Pieces of 8, Captain Hook, Manchester United. It got, you know, like a parrot. So I said to him, what is that? What the hell? What's that? Is it a parrot you've got in the room? He said, yeah, papegaai. And weird thing was, is that papegaai is the same in Dutch as it is in Danish, so I knew what he meant. You kind of know anyway, you know what a parrot is, don't you? Well, parrot could have been a minor bird. Well, there's another one, isn't there? I forget what it is. Anyway, you can sort of teach them to talk, can't you? Today, the 10 minutes is up, really. Could go beyond this 10 minutes. I've got really strict about this 10 minutes in the past. So I don't like these short stories going on and on, you know. For some reason I like to sort of stop them at 10 minutes. But that was sort of in the days when I was making recordings. I made loads and loads of short stories. Lost them all. Well, I didn't lose them all. I put them onto disc and sent them to people, but I can't put them on disc now because computer number 1, the Hewlett Packard, won't burn to a disc. Computer number 2, the laptop, that won't work either. And you can't fix it. I think they're just burnt out, knackered, done for. And so you have to use an external CD-ROM, and that done well. It will work. It works on this computer I've got now. So where was I? I've got that one, Hewlett Packard. Then I had the Hewlett Packard laptop as well, and then I got a free Acer from AOL, and that was brilliant. I think it had Windows 7 on it. And it's all okay for a while because it's new and different and got these graphics. But then after that, you just want it to go on YouTube, you know, or watch porn or whatever you're gonna do. Or basically, it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. But Twitter's kind of boring, isn't it? It's got a horrible format. It's not interesting, and I think on Twitter they're kind of more into giving their opinions about stuff. But you get sick of it, you know. You get sick of all these celebrities are on Twitter, all of them, you know, and they chat to people, but they're only kind of looking at how many people are following them, you know, because they're a celebrity. Well, they're not a celebrity, they're just arseholes, basically just arseholes who decided to open a Twitter account because it's free, you know, and so is Facebook and so is YouTube. But what in fact happens is everybody who's gone on there are being used by all those 3 companies because they get advertisers and they say, oh, we've got 20 million people on here, pay us this much and we'll do, you know, we'll charge you for some advertising. And so the businesses that make money out of people relating to each other on a social level, and then these people who are relating to each other on a social level start to fall out with each other because they start to insult each other, and then they get the police involved, and then people get done, get criminalised and arrested and all that. And basically all of it is like somebody else's property. It's all somebody else's playground, and they invite you onto it, but they're not really inviting you onto it. They're inviting you onto it to use you. But everybody, well, most people kind of know that now, and we just, you know, we allow it. And so really, YouTube's my best one because it gives me a place to put a kind of basis for a story or a book. And it might well be that when I put all this stuff up, I might start typing it up. Yeah, it could take me another 100 years. I'm obviously not going to live that long, but that way it's like a storeroom for me. I can put material on there, music and stuff. Really, it's free, you know. It's free for people to watch and listen to. And free entertainment, but it's not really free because obviously it's got electricity, bills to pay. And the electricity comes from petrol, and the petrol has to be paid for by the electricity companies, and that's why they have wars in the world, basically. Right, so we've had that, which I must have mentioned all this 1,000 times to people. But so back to this story. Yeah, because all that stuff, it kind of takes you a long time before you get to the bottom of what they're really up to, governments and the army and all this, and then you know what they're up to, and so you tell people, and what he wanted his people to say, oh man, you're so intelligent, aren't you? But they don't, do they? They don't fucking bother. They just say, oh really? Or they don't say anything. But so we go back to Place Clichy, and then they're interested again. Then and then they say, oh well, Place Clichy. Where's that then? Well, I'll tell you where it is. It's in Paris, and it's kind of a bit of a down at heel area. It's a lot of Arabs actually live there now, and you get on a metro in Paris. It's only like being in London, I suppose. But Clichy is kind of well known as. It was a place where the artists used to go. Yeah, it must be near Montmartre, I think. I'm not sure. And so you get off at Clichy, and you go to Montmartre, I think, which is a big church up on a hill. Well, the beauty of it is that's where the painters used to go. They used to go up that hill and ask you, oh, do you want your painting done? And they used to have the studios up there, so like Picasso, Monet, and all that, they used to be up there. And of course, what I'm going to say now is people don't realise, but or they do eventually when they read it in a book. But for example, Monet had quite a lot of money. Monet had quite a lot of money. It says he was from a well-to-do family, but we don't know. They might have cut him off, and he might have been skinned. Well, they reckon. I think his parents had like a printing company or something, so they made some money, and so he didn't have to go to work. So he did paintings instead. It might all be bullshit. It might not be true at all. It's just stuff people claim to know about artists or somebody in a book. And so they write stuff, and you pick up bits. You might read the whole book, but you only remember so much of it. But I like Monet, Place Clichy and all that, because it sort of represents a different world to where I live. And what it represents is, I take it literally. If you go to that Orangerie museum in Paris, it says Monet wanted to paint something that was beautiful, and it was a way of forgetting the First World War. And I believe him, because he did paint something beautiful, and I've seen it in Paris. When I got married, I went to Paris for my honeymoon, and I've been to the Orangerie, which is French for orangerie. And it's a room with these three huge paintings going round in a circle, and it's Monet's Bridges at Argenteuil, which is his house basically, his garden, and he had this little bridge and like a pond and a lot of lilies and some trees. And so I managed to get a calendar and stick it up in my bedroom, because it made me think back to when I went to visit the actual place in Paris. And he's a genius. But you have to have seen a Monet painting. Sometimes you go, they might say, oh, like Liverpool Art Gallery's got some Monets, and you might go, you might not. If you go, they might only have the smaller ones, but if you see the blooming triptych, the big three, I think it's that. The thing is at Argenteuil, his garden, the pond, or the lilies, or whatever it's called. It's like a huge, So to paint that is incredible, like size of a building. I think I might be exaggerating, but they're like really big, really tall. So it obviously took him a long time to do them. Well, obviously it might not have. It might take him a few weeks, but it's a hell of a job. And he did it, and they're incredible. You go in, you can't believe it. You stand there in this room and you look round, and that's when your jaw drops, Your jaw drops sometimes when you see something amazing at a football match, like Rooney scored this incredible volley a while ago. He just hit a ball on the volley, it went into the top corner or somewhere. And everyone knows who's a footballer knows, wow, God, it's incredible. What an amazing goal. And that's why he's such an amazing footballer. He just pulls out, something like that. And really, that's the same as a Monet. You have the same climactic feeling when you see it. You know, it's called a peak experience, and Maslow, the psychologist, wrote about these peak experiences in life, and that's what you want, you know. It'd be alright if you could have them all the time, but you don't. Now, I'm going to stop this because it'll become too long, and I tend to think people's attention spans can't bear it when it goes on for ages. So, and then I can make it a different colour, and that's my kind of little artistic creation. So this will be chapter 5. I'll end with a big burp. I've just done it and I've just burped. So that's it then. Here's another one. Oh, a few more. No, that's end of chapter 5.